Good morning, and welcome everyone to the F20 Climate Solutions Forum. First of all, we are in Milan today and tomorrow for a very special edition of the forum under the headline Green Recovery, Sustainable Finance, Just Transition, Putting Words into Deeds. My name is Andrea Cabrini, and I'm delighted to share the stage for these 2 days with an outstanding professional colleague and friend, Connie Schumer. Connie, welcome in Milan.
So lovely to be here, and of course Milan right at the moment is the place to be, not just because we're here, but tomorrow the pre-COP is actually starting here with many high-level speakers there and heavy negotiations going on. A pre-event is already here, the young people are convening, and we're also part and parcel of 17 days celebrating the SDGs, an Italian enterprise bringing around the actual knowledge that we need to do something.
Not to mention, Connie, that at the end of October, Italy will have the G20 leaders meeting in Rome, which will be crucial for the future of negotiation on climate change, something we're going to discuss in these 2 days events that will be organized in 4 2-hour blocks, and then we're going to have breakout sessions in between.
And that's exactly how we're going to feed into this G20 process. Foundations 20 is, of course, an advisory organization. And as you might have seen, ladies and gentlemen, there are already recommendations out there on our webpage. And these are going to be discussed, shaped, and tomorrow afternoon, we're actually going to discuss them. But on the way there and on the way to the opening, ladies and gentlemen, let's just quickly have a look at why we are here. And I know that all of you that are here live in the Meet building and all of you out there on your screens know about it. But these are the words of an IPCC scientist. She said earlier, serious, real, and soon. That's what climate change is. This summer, it is different. It is very serious, it's very real, and it is here. And that is why we need to find solutions and why we need to talk about deeds.
Now, that's why it's so relevant having not just a discussion forum, but a solution forum, Connie. And, you know, this is the talk of the town today in Italy, because yesterday at the opening of Youth for Climate, Greta and Vanessa came in Milan, and talking to government and institution, they said, well, you've been doing just blah, 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 and we do need actions for climate. So we'll discuss recommendation, solutions, new approaches to long-standing problems. But for the high-level opening of our conference, we do have here 4 representatives of the foundations world, including the chair and the co-chair on F20, and one of the strongest force of the foundation world here in Italy. So I welcome on the stage Luisa Parmigiani, co-chair of F20 from Fondazione Unipolis, and Klaus Milke, who's chair of F20. Welcome both, Luisa Parmigiani. Let me start with you to understand how have you prepared and what will we do also in this day one, please.
Good morning, and thank you to be here with us in these very important days, in which F20 is proposing its vision of the world and is challenging G20 members to achieve better results. Foundation and charity organizations are thought characterized by multiple identities and different priorities, recognize the interconnection between the root causes of the challenges that their community or reference are facing and the challenges on a global level. This makes this F20 summit so useful. At national and international level, philanthropic associations and collaborative networks play an important role in the achievement of the goals, as they promote specific training and information activities, the circularity of good practice, the exchange of experience, and they facilitate considerations between the different actors. The 2030 agenda is gradually growing in importance in the planning of foundations, placing the SDGs as an ordering principle of their activities. Particularly relevant at the territorial level, where foundations favor the strengthening of the social fabric, entrepreneurial and cultural heritage of the territory, increasing the resilience of local communities and their capacity for innovation. Also, thanks to their research activities and the connection they can promote at national and international level, the foundations play a leading role in advocacy projects for the territory, in the empowerment of third sector entities and communities, and in investing with impact sustainable on the territory. With the corona crisis, recovery programs and joint attempts to reboot national economies have shown that any measure must be aligned with criteria of sustainable development and climate protection in order to be both effective and resilient for future challenges in long term. Recognizing the global challenges of climate change, many countries have announced to go net zero along with those who stated to scale up renewables in their national economies. It is time to act. More and more people, especially young people, feel the need for this transformation for a sustainable and just world. Here in Milan, almost 400 young people are at the Youth for Climate Thriving Ambition meeting to address the main urgencies and priority of climate action. The time for action is running out, but change is still possible. Galvanizing climate action means equally to assess the complex interlinkages in the climate system that exist. Biodiversity, water, food, and health are such decisive vectors that have to be examined in the context of climate change. There is no doubt, in fact, that the vitality of water, food, and energy will ultimately depend on a healthy biodiversity framework, including sustainable ecosystem. The global challenges of climate change, biodiversity extinction, food production, and health will be as urgent as ever. These will be the issues that we will discuss today, looking for the key principle to help shaping a vision of global food production that is resilient, regenerative, diverse, and healthy. We urgently need transformative policies that are both encompassing in scope and in line with the Paris Agreement and the SDGs. Conversely, if action on climate change explicitly and systematically takes biodiversity conservation into account, we can both generate synergies and positive feedback loops with respect to generating political will, mobilizing financial and technical resources, and taking action on the ground. The panel on the health, food, biodiversity, and climate nexus will formulate expectations towards the upcoming G20 summit, as well as the COP15 on biodiversity and the COP26 on climate, to take action to the world's biggest challenge.
Thank you so much, Marisa,
Welcome.
my dear co-chair. I take over, and I want to welcome all of you here in Milan and in the world. We tried to be connected just now with all the world, and I was willing to say not only good morning, but also good afternoon and good evening, because our Chinese friends and colleagues are doing very well just now on the biodiversity issue. There is the Kunming conference just in front of us, and there were some very important meetings of NGOs, foundations in China, hosted by our partner foundation, SEE Foundation. And I took part yesterday in the opening of such a NGO meeting and foundational meeting. That's important to have in mind, that we are interconnected with the world, in the world, and mostly towards the G20. Because that must be very clear, the G20 have to move forward, because the other countries in the world are somehow victims of the G20. If they don't move, the others have no chance anymore for their future and the future of their children and grandchildren. That is a must. We learned in Germany just before the G20 summit 2017 in Hamburg that we said foundations have to take a stand, have to take over opportunity and show up as part of the opportunity. I'm so happy that many of you are together with us here in this wonderful meet center. also to show up to be part of the solution from Italy, mostly from Italy. Due to the pandemic, it's still very difficult to bring more people together, even in Europe. We try to, but there are obstacles still very, very clear, and we have to be very clear to be safe and keep healthy for our future and what we are doing. Okay, I want to say it's the right time to meet here in Milan. Conny and Andrea already told us what is the situation we are in and what's happening around. The pre-COP from here in Milan with 40 nations to prepare Glasgow well. That's important to bring up a positive signal to them. Yes, we are here. We know what to do, and we are supporting if you are moving forward. We are with you. So a positive signal. So that's the right time. It's the right place, I want to say, because this center is wonderful, and it's a good opportunity also to combine what we are doing on climate with the digitalization and what is helpful in this. And you show up with Caripo Foundation what's possible in this regard. So it's the right place, and also Milan, Italy is the right place because of the G20 presidency of your country. And it's the right people, and want to show up to two of them, Elena Yachi and Giuseppe Banfi from Caripo Foundation. A big applause for them, because without them it would have been impossible to bring up this effort and this activity and this event here. And it's the group of the right foundations, I want to say. We have 4 partner foundations in Italy up to now. It can be more, you are invited. We have Compagnia di San Paolo, we have Caripo Foundation, we have Unipolis Foundation. Marisa, thank you so much. And Community Foundation of Messina, and 3 important networks, that is ACRI, from the banking sector, the foundation, there's ASviS, the head of ASviS, Carola, is sitting there. And we are interconnected in a wonderful way with ASviS, Andrea mentioned it already, and we are part of the SDG Festival. That is very important for us, not to come from outside and to say, oh, we have something to say and we have some good ideas, but we want to interlink it with what is happening in the specific country, and that is a moving process we are in. We started in Hamburg, then it was with our friends in Argentina, with our activities in Buenos Aires in 2018, and then to Tokyo with our friends in Japan. And last year, and very soon I hand over to the King Khalid Foundation, we did a very good job with the Saudi Foundation on our side, because there's also something going on which is very interesting, and perhaps we could do a little bit to encourage the authorities in Saudi Arabia to do more. That is our hope, and that is our effort also for next year. Germany takes over the G7 presidency, so we as Germans have to take over responsibility, but not alone. Together with European foundations, we are very clear about this. And there is a G20 presidency of Indonesia in front of us. That's very interesting, and tomorrow we will have also a speaker, 2 speakers from Indonesia with us, and they are very eager to do a good job, to be more or less in the front row for what has to be done, and we can help, and we can do as much as possible. So now I want to hand over to Princess Nouf bint Mohammed in Riyadh. She brought up her speech in a recorded way, and I give the signal that we can see Princess Nouf in Riyadh. Thank you so much, and I hope we have 2 wonderful days.
Thank you once again. In the next few days, we will be discussing essential topics, and so we hope that from the expert insights we glean, we will recommend concrete actions. Last year, the King Khalid Foundation co-hosted the F20 forum in Saudi Arabia and came out with 4 critical conclusions. 1. Align national joint G20 efforts to combat the economic and social impacts of the global COVID-19 crisis with the globally agreed SDGs and the Paris Climate Agreement. 2. Create a concrete action plan built on the concept of shifting the trillions to close the climate finance gap between the current trajectory and the goals of the Paris Agreement by fostering the financial sector's transformation to leverage its full potential in recovery. 3. Provide debt relief, including debt moratoriums, financial capacity support to poorer countries to enable their economic recovery and development and form a front-runner group of the G20 countries that move forward. 4. Make the water, energy, food, health nexus and the climate biodiversity nexus an integral part of the G20 agenda, as partially indicated by this year's presidency of the G20. This year, as this forum's title suggests, resilience and recovery, highlighting solutions for the G20 on climate and sustainability. The focus lies on finding solutions and taking immediate actions. As we've all come to know, climate, environment, and sustainability issues have proven to be a Sisyphean task, and so we must move away from simply rolling the rock up the hill to have it roll down and crush our bones time and time again. To do so, we need to mobilize enough funding to address all the pressing challenges. However, anyone following an international forum and dealing with a single issue knows how complicated it is to develop consensus if there is such thing as a simple problem. And so when the problem is multifaceted and the proposed solutions have social, cultural, economic ramifications, not to mention sovereignty ramifications, we must create new systems and find the models and instruments and structures that have a proven executable programs and that are equitable to all nations. Furthermore, we need to ensure that the solutions are not greenwashing. Proper accountability and governance standards must be measured and enforced for financing solutions to work, and non-compliance must be penalized. And sure, we will hear more about that in the next couple of days. Of course, the pandemic has frightfully pushed us back on many, many fronts, and time is running out, so we must continue to press the G20 heads of state to take actions and adopt ambitious and transformative targets for a just green transition. Governments can't do it alone, foundations can't do it alone, and businesses can't do it alone. Collective action is the key to any significant change. In closing, I would like to thank Mr. Klaus Milke, the F20 Secretariat, the F20 leadership, and the F20 partners in Italy for organizing this event. I also thank you all for participating and for joining, and I wish you all a very invigorating next few days.
Well, thank you so much, Princess Nouf, for taking the time to take this message to our summit, but also for connecting different aspects we're going to discuss in the panel today and tomorrow. Our last speaker for the introductory session is Pierluigi Stefanini, who's chair of Fondazione Unipolis, but also from ASviS, the Alleanza Italiana per lo Sviluppo Sostenibile, which is a network of organizations which connect more than 300 organizations engaged and involved in the sustainable development ideas. This gives me also the chance to tell you that the working languages of these summits are English and Italian. For those of you that are following online, you do have on the platform the options to decide which is your favorite language. Allora, benvenuto Pierluigi Stefanini, grazie di essere con noi. Buongiorno.
Grazie a lei, Andrea, buongiorno. Good morning, thank you. ASviS, Alleanza Italiana per lo Sviluppo Sostenibile, è sorta nel 2016 per promuovere nel nostro paese la cultura della sostenibilità, promuovere gli obiettivi dell'Agenda 2030, fare in modo che nel nostro paese si definisca una strategia adeguata per raggiungere quegli obiettivi così importanti per il nostro futuro e il futuro di tutto il pianeta. All'interno della nostra alleanza sono ormai organizzate più di 300 realtà e tra queste 32 fondazioni di varia natura che manifestano anche la pluralità, la ricchezza che il nostro paese esprime attraverso l'attività di importanti istituzioni quali le fondazioni. E in ambito di G20, appunto, il F20 ha lavorato in queste settimane, in questi mesi, attivando un gruppo di lavoro all'interno della nostra alleanza che ha individuato degli ambiti fondamentali per come le fondazioni possono contribuire esse stesse al cambiamento, alla trasformazione alla necessità di costruire un nuovo futuro, perché sappiamo che l'attuale modello di sviluppo non regge più, non è più in grado di rispondere al benessere, all'equilibrio tra le persone e la dimensione della biodiversità e della dimensione ecosistemica. In questo senso, le fondazioni hanno affrontato alcuni grandi temi. L'uguaglianza di genere, sostengono che su questo terreno è importante il ruolo che possono esercitare per contribuire a un cambiamento culturale, ma per avanzare anche su progetti concreti che contribuiscano nella vita, nel lavoro, in ogni ambito dell'attività delle donne e degli uomini, e promuovere l'importanza della parità di genere, peraltro prevista dall'Agenda 2030 al Goal 5. Secondo punto, lavorare per costruire il diritto ad un'istruzione di qualità. Ne parla il Goal 4 nell'Agenda 2030, è un tema fondamentale che possa contribuire a fare in modo che aumenti la competenza, la conoscenza, le capacità critiche e dunque la volontà poi di convivere e di condividere insieme processi e progetti di trasformazione. Terzo, la tutela della salute. Anche qui sappiamo bene la pandemia quanto ha colpito l'intero pianeta e sappiamo bene che occorre una risposta più evoluta, integrata, universale e al tempo stesso anche la capacità, attraverso la innovazione tecnologica, attraverso una medicina di territorio, costruire risposte che siano in grado di cogliere anche le disuguaglianze. La proposta di sperimentare, a proposito di città, al Goal 11, esperienze private, pubblico-private, che siano in grado sul terreno, ad esempio, del social housing, del co-housing, dello smart housing, che diano risposte al disagio abitativo, e su questo le fondazioni in Italia stanno facendo un importante lavoro. Inoltre, contribuire, favorire il processo di alfabetizzazione. L'Europa insiste molto su questo, affinché il processo digitale di trasformazione, di cambiamento, possa essere a beneficio delle persone, della loro vita e del loro futuro. E infine sappiamo bene quanto sia fondamentale il tema del cambiamento climatico. Su questo le fondazioni hanno un ruolo molto importante, perché possono aiutare le comunità locali, i cittadini, le diverse organizzazioni a mutare i loro comportamenti, ad assumere maggiore responsabilità e impegno. Sappiamo tutti che il cambiamento climatico richiede un impegno di ognuno di noi e insieme possiamo costruire un futuro sostenibile. Grazie e buon lavoro.
Grazie davvero Stefanini. Io le faccio soltanto una domanda, perché con ASviS siete stati una delle forze principali che ha spostato l'agenda sui temi dello sviluppo sostenibile, fondatore, uno dei fondatori, Giovannini, è oggi ministro di questo governo. L'Italia ha una forte responsabilità oggi nella gestione del G20. Quali sono le sue aspettative concretamente? Lei ci ha già parlato di soluzioni concrete, del fronte di impegno delle fondazioni, dal social housing alla transizione digitale fino a quello che fate sull'ambiente. Che cosa si aspetta dai prossimi appuntamenti, dalla pre-COP, dal G20 italiano?
Noi ci aspettiamo che intanto su scala nazionale il nostro Paese assuma con maggiore impegno e coerenza la strategia di sviluppo sostenibile. Ancora non ci siamo. Purtroppo su diversi goal il Paese ancora è in una condizione difficile e dunque c'è un impegno interno che deve essere promosso e ci auguriamo che questo governo assuma questa responsabilità. Su scala più ampia, internazionale, per noi è decisivo il ruolo dell'Europa. Sappiamo bene che i fenomeni che stanno attraversando il pianeta sono complessi e difficili. Sappiamo bene che portare ad unitarietà, ad una visione comune, cooperativa, ad una visione multilaterale non è semplice. Per questo l'Europa gioca un ruolo fondamentale, proprio per favorire un processo di avvicinamento tra le grandi potenze, tra i paesi in via di sviluppo, e dunque essere una cerniera avanzata, intelligente, che possa costruire davvero una risposta adeguata. E COP26 non c'è dubbio che è un'occasione assolutamente da non perdere, un'occasione fondamentale, e su questo il nostro Paese, che guida il G20, può giocare un ruolo davvero determinante.
Grazie ancora Pierluigi Stefanini, grazie della vostra partecipazione. A presto. So Connie, let me switch back to English, because now it's time to get into our high-level keynotes speaker, and we've got a terrific lineup, Connie, of speakers here.
Absolutely amazing.
You know,
and this morning, after the opening, we're talking about revisiting the health, food, biodiversity, and of course the climate nexus. Nothing stands on its own. Everything is interconnected. So if you want to have solutions, you actually have to tackle them all, but tackle them in the right and correct way.